People pose that question. Will 2023 be better than 2022? If you're gonna think externally, environments, interest rates, world, financial situation, slowdowns, then you can probably think of your answer. It can be good or bad. It can be better or worse. But if you're going to be looking at that on a personal basis, the answer is always yes. So this is a major factor. At ito po, ang hatid nito, syempre, higher. Hello mga ka-RFF, happy New Year. We at Rampver Financials hope and pray that 2023 unfolds to be an ever prosperous one for all of us. Kamusta po kayo? Did you celebrate your holidays in a fun-filled, happy, and meaningful way? We do hope so. And here we are, at the start of the very new year, nandito po kami agad. And as we've told you, we'd always like to be a part of your journey. Kaya naman po, bagong taon, preskong-presko, nandito na kagad kami. And I hope many of you caught my new look. Ito po ang aking look for 2023. Doon po sa mga nag-a-agree na bagay ito, pakisabi na lang po sa comment section para naman po meron akong pangdepensa sa mga taong nagsasabing hindi ata naging maganda. You know, Rampver Financials has a very firm outlook for 2023. You probably would have seen this in our recent videos and webinars. But let me go back and just do a bit of a quick refresh. We see 2023 still as a very challenging year for investments, as you know, there has been a lot of skepticism as to how we're going to be taken by the slowdown of the global economy, still continuing concerns and issues regarding inflation and interest rates. So kami po, ang tingin namin, buka pa din yan. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world where we need to be upfront and abreast with every development that's happening. Kami po yon. Siyempre, we'd like to be able to bring that to you in a synthesized manner, all clear with implications, so that you don't need to do any researching and reading yourself. Pero very clear po, there are clouds, dark clouds on the horizon, while there are also green shoots na nagpapakita naman na meron na rin pong magagandang development. Again, dark clouds, but with silver tints or maybe positivity showing up. Kaya po, as a matter of fact, ang sinabi namin, the first half of 2023 will still be a little volatile. So syempre po, nandiyan pa rin yung issue, hindi pa natin talaga alam kung talagang bababa na ang interest rates or bababa na ang inflation. But we have a very clear and confident idea that it will. At nakikita naman po natin, medyo tapering off po ang pag-i-increase ng rates ng Fed at ng European Central Bank together with the Bank of England. Pero tayo po, sabi ng BSP, makikipagsabayan tayo. Which means, clearly, our interest rates are also going to be tapering off and hopefully, our inflation really gets to be nicked in 2023. So, makikita po natin the first half will be a little volatile. However, the second half is a different story. The second half, as far as we are concerned, will show clearer pathways to growth. Nakikita na natin na even inflation in the US is actually getting checked, and because of that, concerned naman ang kanilang gobyerno sa palaging pagtataas ng interest rates dahil gusto rin nilang huwag naman magkaroon ng recession. At kung magkaroon man, ay hindi ganon kalalim. Always remember, even in economics, politics plays a role. At alam nyo po, may darating silang eleksyon at medyo nagbabanggaan na ang mga powers that be. So certainly, ang mga nakaupo sa kanilang administrasyon, hindi naman papayag na maging malalim ang kanilang recession. So immediately after they see that inflation rates are getting tamed, they will go back to normalizing interest rates, and maybe even start lowering them sometime end of 2023 or start of 2024 or even later. Pero ang importante pong kailangan silipin natin ay talaga bang nakarating na tayo dun sa tuktok? Hindi ko po masasagot yan kasi maaaring talagang tumuloy pa ang inflation, magtaas pa rin sila. But ang gusto ko pong sabihin, hindi na po nalalayo yung tuktok na yon. And that's the reason why, as an investor, I'd rather act on things today. Hindi po ako maghihintay na solve ng lahat. Actually, sinabi nga natin, we have to be ahead of the curve. So, given that as a backdrop, ano ba talaga yung aming New Year investment tips and advice? And sasabihin ko po sa inyo, hindi ito talagang pang-investment lang or pagkakaperahan lang. I think you know, tayo sa Rampver Financials, we want to have a more holistic, balanced view of everything. So, mas gusto namin when we talk about empowerment, we're not talking about financial empowerment. We're talking about empowerment of your life as a whole. Your balanced life with a clear view of all the important aspects of your life. So, very important po na ganun. So, on the investment side, we're looking at this and we're always saying now, sinabi ko na rin po a few videos ago, steadily accumulate. It is a time when you have to start investing if you haven't started. Swerte nga po kayo na mag-uumpisa lang ngayon. Ang mga mag-uumpisa lang ngayon, makakapasok sa napakababang presyo. We're still in the doldrums. We haven't really recovered so much yet. As I've said, ulit-ulitin ko po, have I seen bottom? Maybe hindi pa. Pero ang point ko, kung yan ay bababa man, hindi na yan nalalayo. So hindi ko na yan iintayin. I will be ahead of the curve. I will be starting now. Because where we are today, bargain prices na eh. Nakikita ko ng value. At nakikita ko na meron talagang mga kumpanya who will be benefiting from higher rates of interest and inflation. Siyempre, yung ngayon palang nag-uumpisa, medyo mura ang kanilang pasok. They can actually see great values because some companies are not exactly doing so poorly. Some of them have already started recovering as we opened the protocols regarding COVID-19. Kaya naman po, para doon naman sa mga may investment na at ang palagay nila, sila nga ay nalulugi, underwater, they have to be able to increase commitments to investing. This is the time to lower your average cost. This is the time to continuously come in and make sure you have the opportunity to average down. And because of that, if you're going to be looking at an economy like this and you're going to be pressuring me to come up with a tip, abay, napakaganda po ng banking sector. We have told a lot of people that being overweight on the banking sector might be good. And why? Because when interest rates go up, they have a higher margin. At alam naman po natin, yung kanilang asset quality, maganda pa rin naman. They're not exactly deteriorating the way they did in 1997. And loan rates have not actually expanded too much. Hindi naman po tumaas because the market is still awash with cash. So talagang pabor po sa mga bangko ang situation na ganito. For the others that cannot deal with direct investing, take the position, the growth position on mutual funds. Steadily increase your commitment and do it constantly and consistently. The other thing that we can look at in the flip side, outside equities and mutual funds, will be your fixed income instruments. Doon po sa inyo na nakapaglalagay ng emergency fund or even a portion of their total portfolio in fixed income, maybe it's high time for you to think beyond the 30, 60, 90-day placements. Alam nyo po, when we say inflation and interest rates are tapering off, maybe it's high time we lock our positions. Yung mga mahahabang duration like 5, 7, or 10 years. Because when you lock it there, you get that rate for that whole period. So even if interest rates go down, you're going to be happy with that kind of a yield. Eh ngayon po, nakakakita na tayo ng 5, 5.5, even 6.5%. So you will be enjoying that for a long period of 5 years. We better lock it up now. Baka po pag nagsibabaan ng rate na yan, hindi na uli natin ma-enjoy ang opportunity ganyan. So you have to look at your fixed income instruments, take on a little of a longer duration, pero pagdating naman sa inyong risk position, I hope you can increase your level of growth. Kasi po itong lagi nating naririnig, inflation, interest rates, paulit-ulit yan. Everybody says that. You read that in all of the write-ups, you see fund managers and analysts always talking about that. Pero hindi po ganun kadami ang nagka-clarify why interest rates and inflation are important factors to consider. So dito po, again, back to basics tayo. Why inflation and interest rates are major considerations moving forward. So, unahin po natin effect on companies. Siyempre, when we invest in stocks, we invest in mutual funds that invest in stocks, we are taking a position in their earnings proposition. Diba? So, ibig sabihin, tumataya tayo sa mga kumpanya dahil gusto nating makisali sa kanilang pagkita for the future. Pero dahil tumataas po ang interest rate, siyempre, medyo may concern tayo dyan. Ang kumpanya may concern dyan. Bakit? Kasi ang mga companies po, tumataas ang cost of capital pag tumataas ang interest rates. Hindi naman po lahat ng kumpanya may pera at laging equity ang ginagamit. Karamihan po, if not all of the companies in different industries, they always have a position on debt. They use other people's money to grow their businesses. So when this happens, meron silang loans, whether short-term or long-term. Pag tumaas po ang interest, ano ibig sabihin? Siyempre, yung cost of capital nila aakyat. Next, higher costs of production and also higher costs of operation. Siyempre po, yung mga binibili nilang factors of production, raw materials, lahat po yan nagtataasan with inflation and interest rates. So, ibig sabihin, taas ang kanilang costs. And yung cost of operation, tumaas po ang gasolina, tumaas ang kuryente. So lahat po, kahit na nasa service industry, umaakyat din ang costs of operation. In which case, ano po ang ibig sabihin ng mga yan? Pwede pong bumaba ang ating earnings rate. Yung pagkita ng mga kumpanya, yung capability nila to earn money and bring forth future cash flows, bababa dahil mataas ang inflation at interest rate. Which means, pag nangyari po yan, some companies will actually go for a slowdown. Imbes na mag-expand sila at umutang sila ng pera, medyo daw muna sila. Medyo pirmis muna, ika nga. So ano nangyayari? Effect din sa general economy. Kaya yung actual slowdown po or the lower pace of growth of GDP is also rooted in inflation and higher interest rates. Yung domino effect po nito, ganyan ang nangyayari. Pero tayo sa mga investors sa financial markets, double whammy po tayo. Kasi if you go to the flip side, may tama pa po yung mismong valuation. Hindi lang yung operation ng kumpanya, hindi lang yung earnings ng kumpanya, pati yung pagpepresyo natin tatamaan. Bakit po? Kasi diba, remember, when you buy a stock, you're buying its earnings proposition. You're buying the cash flow it's going to give you. Pag tumas po yung interest rate, yung future cash flow, di ba, i-discount natin yun eh. So when you discount a future cash flow to the present day, knowing that interest rates are going up, ano po ibig sabihin? Tataas po yung pagka-discount, dapat mas mababang presyo yung pagkakabili mo. Ganun pala yun. So, double whammy. Yung kumpanya na nahirapan ng kumita, tapos pati valuation mo, binababa mo ngayon, paano ngayon yan? Diyan po talagang nauuna yung tinatawag na pessimism ng merkado. When people get to more of capitulation, despondency. At bakit po nangyayari yun? Siyempre, lower level of earnings and higher discount rates on assets only lead to one thing. It leads to the lack of interest in playing the market. So, there will be lack of buyers. Kasi hindi exciting eh. Hindi magandang kikitain, bet ako sasali dyan. So pag kumunti po ang buyers, saan po papunta ang presyo ng isang stock? Ayan, dyan yung makikita. Talagang nagtutugma din yan. On the other hand, hindi lang talaga fundamental. Nandyan po yung emotional. So the lack of confidence can now bring forth yung kabaliktaran naman, more sellers. Bumaba na nga yung interest ng buyers, magkakaroon ka pa ngayon ng sellers dahil may mga takot, saan po papunta ang presyo ng assets? Di pa po bababa. But again, as I tell you this and I talk about it, I will be very, very clear with this. I go back to my idols, Warren Buffett, Peter Lynch. Alam niyo sinasabi nila? Lahat naman yan macro eh. Interest rates, inflation, they're all macro. But do you know that they do that every 10 years? Plus or minus 2 years, nangyayari yan. And no one is able to predict it. So ano sinasabi ni Peter Lynch? Imbis na i-predict mo yung galaw ng interest rate, imbis na i-predict mo yung galaw ng inflation rate, i-predict mo yung nakokontrol mo. Don't predict what you cannot control. And what can you control? Yourself. So no matter what's happening, you can actually continuously invest and average down on your positions. Kasi pasasaan ba yan? Masosolve yung inflation na yan eh. Pag nasolve yung inflation na yan, bababa yung interest rate na yan eh. At pag nangyari yun, sisigla na naman ang merkado, gaganda na naman ang performance ng mga kumpanya. Guess what happens? Over time, it goes back to the proposition that companies are better off than regular time deposits in terms of an outlook on the way we can earn money. So in the end, kahit ano palang mangyaring volatility ganyan, over the long term, dapat dito ka nakataya. So basically, you now have to control yourself, you have to control your own cash flow para every month meron kang mailalagay. Yan daw ang usapan dito. And that's the reason why I move on to my next tip, which is really to use all of our potential for 2023 to create new income streams. Nasa libro ko po yan, firing on all cylinders. Minsan, karamihan po ng Pilipino, pag may trabaho, may kita, okay na. Yun na yun. Dapat po hindi ganun eh. Dapat meron tayong spare time, hindi ba? Yung spare time ba na yan, ginagamit natin para kumita ng pera o para gumasta ng pera? We can use that spare time to earn a little more money using our potential, using our other skills. Can we sell something? Can we use, online platforms? Can we teach people? No matter what it is, anyone has the opportunity to earn more kung talaga pong gugustuhin natin. So, when you earn a little more, guess what will happen? You will have increased income. Now, instead of that increased income going to your expenses, what should happen? That income will have to have excesses. Di ba? Umakyat yung plus eh. Hindi mo dapat gastahin yan dahil gumanda lang yung income mo, gagastahin mo na. Hindi. Yung income na yan will come up and result into excess funds that you can use for investing. Eh, di ba kanina, ang reklamo ng marami kasi, di ba? Konti lang kinikita ko eh. Kaya wala akong ma-invest or konti lang ang mai-invest ko. But if you have extra jobs, if you have extra opportunities of earning, excess funds can increase your investments, the money that you can funnel into different asset classes for your future. Yan po ang importante talaga. So, we will have to expand our earning potential. And, kalaki po niyan, syempre, kontrolin naman natin ang ating expenses. Kasi hindi rin maganda na aakyat ang income mo, tas expenses mo aakyat din. So, yung expenses natin, i-budget natin yan, but the income, let us expand that. But let me get you down to the most important discussion in this video. Alam niyo po, ang pinaka-importante is self. And I've said that the biggest investment, the best investment you can make is in yourself. At ito po, tama-tama, New Year, I'd really want to magnify this. This is what needs to be magnified because the thing about resolutions, the thing about change is the fact that it's not sustainable. Karamihan po, gustong magbago sa bagong taon, gustong mas yumaman, gustong mas maging healthy, gustong mas maging maganda ang relationships, but they don't do something about it. Bumilang kayo ng ilang linggo, bumilang kayo ng ilang buwan, wala na, balik na uli sa dati. How can we make things more sustainable? That's why resolutions rarely work. Resolutions rarely work. Kasi po, pag nag-resolution ka, hindi mo naman ipa-follow through, nag-fade yan, nawawala yan. Lalo na, para dun sa mga ibang tao na magagawa ng resolution, para mukhang sakripisyo. Pag naging sakripisyo po ang resolution, guess what happens? You will stop it dahil sakripisyo eh. Pag nag-gain mo na o tinamaan mo na yung goal mo, balik ka na sa dati. Kasi you will reward yourself for doing what you have done. How do we make it sustainable? We make it sustainable by changing our visions of ourselves. Palitan po natin yung ating end in mind. You have to create a different vision of yourself. By the end of the year 2023, who am I gonna be? What are my capabilities? What will I have by that time? Will I be financially stable, financially strong? Will I be a well-oiled machine, a healthy individual with great relationships? That vision of yourself will be very important. Many people focus on the small things to do. No. Create the vision that you'd want to be. Very important po yan. Believe, commit, and like what you're about to do. Ulitin ko po. Believe, commit, and like what you're going to do. Kasi po, pag gusto mo yung ginagawa mo, tuloy-tuloy yan. Example that I always use is a physical regimen. We want to be healthy. Pero anong ginagawa natin? Diet tayo, hindi tayo kakain. Guess what? When we hit the right weight, guess what we do? We eat again. And when we do that, we gain weight again. But if you establish the person you want to be, that healthy individual, guess what happens? You will now make working out a part of your lifestyle, and you're going to be eating healthy, and you will like eating healthy. That's very important. You will like working out, and you will like eating healthy. That's the most important thing now. Because when you like what you do, it becomes sustainable. Don't make it a sacrifice. If it's a sacrifice, it wouldn't last. Realize your potential. Who are you destined to be? You know, we're all blessed by our great Lord with a lot of talent and potential. With the way you're doing now, can you imagine this? With the way you're doing now, that person 10 to 15 years from now versus who you were meant to be, will that be one and the same person? Yung binigay kayang potential ni Lord sa inyo, magagamit nyo to be the person you were destined to be? Or will that person be less because you did not fire on all your cylinders because you wasted and didn't push the effort? Yun po ang tanong dun eh. Kasi everything that we do, we will do based on the way we think. And that's the reason why this whole mindset thing is something that we at Rampver would be very, very serious about. We will never act inconsistently with the way we identify ourselves. That is a quote from Tony Robbins. We will never act inconsistently with the way we define ourselves. Kung ano yung pagkakakilala natin sa ating sarili, yun ang ating magiging action at behavior. To put it in a positive spin, we will always act consistently with the identity that we define for ourselves. So kung ang tingin mo sa sarili mo financially responsible at magiging financially responsible ka, consistently magiging financially responsible ka. Don't mind the details. Mind the person you ought to be. Alam nyo, dyan mo makikita yung difference because the vision of ourselves, that is the empowered individual, will have such an empowered lifestyle And why? Because you will have the character. Character is the ability to carry a resolution long before the excitement of the moment has passed. Can you imagine that? Let me repeat that. Character is the capability to carry on a resolution long after that moment of excitement has passed. Do you have that character to be the very best you can be? Yan po ang usapan dito. So when we do resolutions, money resolutions, physical resolutions, relationship resolutions, let us first imagine the end in mind. And let us cement that in our heads and make that picture really very vivid. Instead of coming up with simple goals like, I want to be 110 pounds, I want to be 100 pounds, I want to be 160 pounds. Those metrics are good, but they're intermediate. The key is to have the end in mind. And that's the reason why, ship ko po yan, pag na-establish nyo na yung identity, that's the only time you clarify your goals. Back to square one po tayo. A lot of people in New Year's resolutions, laging ang target goals eh. Goals agad. Doesn't work that way. You have to have a vision of what you want to be, who you want to be. And based on that, now create the goals. Because when you create the goals after you have the vision, goals are going to be more specific. And on top of being more specific, guess what? Goals are going to be more updated. Is that really what you want? Kasi alam nyo, yung goals natin, nagbabago yan eh. When I was in college, my goals are very different. When I took up MBA school, that changed. When I put up my own business, that changed. When I joined a mastermind group, that changed substantially. So, you update those goals, provide more specifics, and guess what? You are going to be seeing a very different target. You're going to be seeing a very different end in mind. Because I tell you, this is the time to be a little more ambitious. Fortune favors the bold. Always remember that. Fortune favors the bold. It is time to be able to dream and let our ambition take a higher course. Because lower than that, guess what happens? We miss out on potential. We waste opportunities. You know, a lot of people will often say, hindi Rex, kailangan naman kontento ka din. I will have to make sure you define that correctly. Because there is a big difference between foolish settling and wise contentment. Wise contentment is something else. Wise contentment is being content because it matches your potential. You've done your best. Ang problema ng iba, fully settling. Kontento na sila, pero hindi yun ang dapat na kinalalagyan nila. And why is this very important? Because we have to think beyond ourselves. If you reach your potential, ang sasabihin natin, hindi ko naman kailangan yung yaman na ganyan eh. Hindi ko naman kailangan yung assets at perang ganyan. Tama, hindi mo kailangan. So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to share it. Fulfill your potential. And if you produce more than what you need, you're supposed to share. Hindi ibig sabihin, mangangamkam ka ng lahat-lahat ng kayamanan para sa sarili mo. No, you fulfill your potential because that's who you're destined to be. At kung sobra-sobra ka, share it with others. Yan ang tamang gawin. And I'll tell you 3 quotes to be able to end this really strongly. And I've used them time and time again. 1, never let a good crisis go to waste. Sir Winston Churchill. Crises present opportunities for growth. Crises present opportunities to be better. Never waste that opportunity that a crisis brings. Market crisis. I see them every 10 years. So if I'm in the market for 40 years, I've seen them 4 times. How many crises will you see in your lifetime? If you don't take advantage of many of them, you're going to be wasting tons of opportunities. Number 2, successful investing is about managing risk, not completely avoiding it. That's a quote from Benjamin Graham, the teacher of Warren Buffett. When you completely avoid risk, you hide from opportunities of growth. You manage risk. You don't avoid it because avoiding risk makes you stagnant. All of the Taipans of our country, all of the most successful people, they took risks, calculated risks. I hope you get to learn how to do these things because if you don't, you're going to be wasting your particular pathway to be the best person you can ever be. Quote number 3, and this actually really wraps it up. Cash and courage at a time of crisis are priceless. If you have the investable funds and the boldness and the courage to think growth, and we're in a crisis, you're in the best position of your life. Let us not waste it. 2023 should unfold as one year where all of us become more successful. Will it be better than 2022? It should be. A lot of people pose that question. Will 2023 be better than 2022? If you're going to think externally, environments, interest rates, world financial situation, slowdowns, then you can probably think of your answer. It can be good or bad. It can be better or worse. But if you're going to be looking at that on a personal basis, the answer is always yes. For me, 2023 will be better than 2022. And you know why? Because it's not about what's going to happen. It is going to be about what I intend to do about it. Mga ka-RFF, this is Rex Mendoza, hoping that this video helps you, made you learn something, and most importantly, put you in a bold and confident stance to make 2023 the best year for you. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for your support. Blessings always. So, this is a major factor. At ito po, ang hatid nito, syempre, higher